Alright, so today we're not really going to be tying a fly, any pattern in particular. We're going to be going over two techniques to make your flies look buggier and more realistic, because if you've ever seen a bug up close, like a microscope image of even something like a mayfly nymph, you'll notice that they're really fuzzy on the surface, and a lot of tyers will try and use stuff like dubbing loops or brush through their dubbing with toothbrushes to get this to look more realistic. So I'm going to be showing you those two techniques up against each other. For the toothbrush, I'm going to use like a dark brown dubbing, and then I'm going to use a light white, or not a light white, a light orange for the dubbing loop. So we can see these two techniques divided around like right there on a hook, a little streamer hook, so that I can fit the two. And I'm just gonna show these two techniques so you can figure out what to use when, because I do feel that in smaller sizes a little bit of a less high profile bugginess might be necessary. So I'm just gonna bring this back, and for the toothbrush I'm gonna use, like I mentioned, this darker dubbing. I'm just gonna dub it fairly tightly, like how you usually would, and just continue up the hook shank. And then I'm going to come in with my toothbrush, which this toothbrush has very stiff bristles, which is what I'd recommend when you're doing this technique, because it can grab a lot more of the fibers and grab them with more grip than a toothbrush with soft bristles. I got a big big pinch of dubbing right here. Alright, that's way too big. Let's see, I'm just going to do a pinch or two more, and then I'm going to run through it with the toothbrush to show you that effect. Alright, there we go. That's about where I want it. Maybe a little bit more. I'm just going to hit it with a bit of a larger pinch for this one too. And I get it really tight before I do this. And you might want to do it looser when you're actually tying with this, but I'm doing it tight so that I can showcase the difference that just running a toothbrush through your dubbing can have. So now you see what we have right now. So I'm just going to stroke the toothbrush through repeatedly, just rotate my vise around, continue doing the same thing. And I'm not sure how much detail you can actually see. I don't want to zoom in because I feel like that might mess something up, but there's like the few fibers coming off, and then if you look in close, there's a huge amount of just shorter, smaller fibers hanging off of it. So I imagine this would look great on a nymph or something of that nature. However, I wouldn't use it on your larger flies, mainly smaller patterns that you just want that extra touch to. Now I'm going to start my dubbing loop by just taking my finger and bringing my thread around it. And I've misplaced my dubbing loop twister, so I'm just going to use some hackle pliers today. It's the same thing, it just grabs your loop and helps hold on. Alright, now this is the color orange we're going to be using. Okay, that's actually too close to the brown in my opinion. I want it to be like the opposite color. So we're going to be using this almost like it's hard to describe. I'll just show you. It's a light orange right there. So this is about as far away from the brown as you can get. So I'm just going to load up my dubbing loop with a bunch of this. And you can get different effects by using different amounts of dubbing in your pinches. But generally the length of the fibers is about how the dubbing loop's going to look. Alright, now I'm just gonna even it all out and begin twisting. And you can see this forms into more of a circle, like a pre-made dubbing brush if you've ever seen one of those. Those are actually pretty cool for streamer patterns. And that's what this is closer to than that one. So I'm just going to bring it directly vertically. And just begin bringing it around. Now you can see here, I'm not going to alter the dubbing loop in any way. No toothbrush, nothing like that. Nothing fancy on this one. I'm just going to show you it. This is exactly how it is. And you can see it does have more long fibers. Some of these stray fibers that are longer are almost reaching the bend of the hook. There's one right here that's reaching the just beyond the point of the hook. And this it lacks the shorter fibers that the dubbing loop, or not the dubbing loop, sorry, the toothbrush has. So it's a totally different effect on this. And yeah, you can see it's much longer. Like the height even, like right here is around where the last fibers of the dubbing loop naturally stretch up to. And then like right there is where the dubbing, or not the, sorry, is where the toothbrush brings them up to. So, in conclusion, I recommend the toothbrush effect that it gives if you're tying a nymph or something like that. I don't know why I'm going for a neat head here. I'm never even gonna, this thing's never gonna see the water. But I recommend, like I just said, this, if you're going for a nymph, the toothbrush effect, where you just brush through it. But then I recommend the dubbing loop if you're going for a streamer or a wet fly or something of that nature, or even a larger nymph. Like, if you go back and see my video on the dubbing loop hare's ear nymph, I've actually used dubbing loops quite a bit on this channel. You can see that it can provide a really good effect of like a collar on a nymph or something. So, yeah, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something about these two techniques today. And yeah, if you did, like and subscribe.